Okay. Well, thank you and welcome to the CCP Clayton Capital Partners Author Series. And we're excited and honored to have Elizabeth Ledoux with us. Elizabeth has focused her practice on helping entrepreneurs transition in their businesses. So Elizabeth, can you jump in, give us some background on yourself and the businesses you've been involved in and what led you to this point?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thanks, Kevin. First, it's great to be here. I am excited to have the opportunity to tell you a little bit about what we do. My background, I am a Coloradoan from fifth generation Colorado. And background in history is as an engineer. I used to drill oil wells and loved that. I went to Colorado School of Mines, graduated as a petroleum engineer, and worked on the oil wells for a while until I wanted to have a wonderful life raising my kids. And I tell you this for a reason, because entrepreneurs tend to sometimes make big jumps in order to get to where they want to be so that they can live the life that they want to live. And I did that. So I made a big shift in my career and started working with private owners, helping them to grow and develop their companies. Over the years, I enjoyed that. I am very good at creating strategies. And as I created them, I got frustrated because I was watching business owners and their teams putting a lot of energy into these strategies and then not really executing them. And so with a little bit of research found that only 9% of business owners actually execute their strategic plans in growing, but then also in transitioning. So over the years, I developed this process and wrote a book about it recently called It's a Journey. And the process actually allows people to build a transition plan, and transition usually by definition has to include some growth as well, and to be able to put people first, because by putting people first, what I've found is the plans actually get executed, the growth happens, the transitions happen, and the businesses then generationally go forward. So my big passion is in helping families and business owners and partners and employees to stay together and keep these businesses functioning for our communities.
Excellent. And so for our listeners, we will be sending you an email about how you can find Elizabeth's new book. It's very, very good. So why do you think private business succession planning is so important, big picture, and why is it critical that it's done well the right way?
So the reason why I think it's big picture important is really literally for our economy and for our communities. If you look around and also do any research with statistics, private companies are extremely important to our economy and our community. Employ a majority of our people. They provide, I think, families with the opportunity to pay for their kids to go to school and to have the things that they need and to eat and do the basics in life. So private business is a backbone of our community. And so big picture, if the businesses fail in their transition, because we all know as owners, if you are an owner, that you will leave your business one way or another. You'll either leave it vertically or you'll leave it horizontally, but one way or another, you will be out of your business at some point in time. So you think about then what happens to that business, and then what is the ripple effect that, how does that affect the community? Not only with the job availability, but the services that it provides to people. A lot of our communities depend on our businesses, and many private owners, from my experience, they're generous people. And so not only to their company, but they also provide exterior benefits. So one owner that we did the transition, it was a family up in Canada, and they decided that it would be detrimental to sell to a third party. And the reason why they decided that was because the town, they're the #1 employer in that town. and they provide not only the employment, but also, you know, charity, soccer teams, uniforms, things to kids. So that's why I think it's so important. It's not just about you as an owner getting out, but it's about the legacy that you leave and the ability to continue to take care of our communities.
So talk a little bit about putting people first. You hear that used often, it's almost a cliche. And in my world of selling companies, I often hear owners talk about that until the rubber meets the road and you get close to the closing and they kind of abandon that. So what's your experience been with business owners about putting people first, and do they really do it?
Well, the concept of putting people first it's one of the first principles in our 7 principles of transitioning well. As I said earlier, that most entrepreneurs are generous people. So in order to be a great leader and to build a great business, typically you need people to come with you as an owner and a leader, and they'll follow you. And typically they do that because you treat them well. So as you walk through the transition process, many owners, they're trying to put themselves first because they need to do that in order to leave. They need to figure out how to be financially stable outside of the business. They need to figure out how to leave the business financially stable without them. And they need to figure out what their next adventure is. And while they're doing that, they're also trying to figure out how to leave the business whole and all those people. Again, you know, jobs in place and customers taken care of and vendors still being paid, and, you know, that business thriving forward. So by putting people first, the opportunity, if you can do that, it allows people to not have the tension that normally would happen with the business. So I like stories. I just got done earlier today meeting with a couple of business owners who have a couple of successors. And you find that the people who are leaving are trying to get out of the way, but don't want to leave too quickly. The people that are coming in want you to get out of the way because they're ready to take over. And so how do you, in a situation where you have opposing needs sometimes, how do you create a positive environment instead of a negative, where you can have those people first and actually give each other gifts and help each other get to the same goals. So putting people first, I found, just takes away the tension and makes it a fun journey instead of a miserable journey.
Are you surprised, either way, good or bad, about what owners do when they get down to the cutting floor of selling their companies? Are you surprised what they do with their people?
Yes, I am very surprised. I would say, yes, I'm very surprised. Sometimes if you have a great plan and you're very open and transparent, it works. There's a lot of fear that as you walk through this process, and Kevin, I'm sure that you see that also. Right. There's fear of the unknown and fear of what other people will do. So our fear of, will my employees stay with me or will they leave? What will their reaction be? And so because of that, we have those mindsets or those thoughts. And we, in order to protect that, sometimes aren't as transparent or vulnerable or open. And sometimes we're even under non-disclosure, that you just can't talk about it. Right. So it's tough, the behavior. Yeah, and it's a tough situation to be in. So yeah, surprises for sure.
Yeah, we've seen seems like every facet of that. Some owners that are incredibly generous and take care of their employees post-closing. They worry about their employees a lot. And so when they are looking for the buyer, that's one of their top criteria. And they will spend a lot of time what they're going to do. Some of them even write it into the documents as to how they will treat the employees. And they can't do any downsizing for 2 years or something like that. It's hard to legislate behavior, as you know, but some of them try. Many people think about exiting being a one-time event. In your book, you talk about it's a process and a journey. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so in the process that we put together, we kind of broke it into two pieces. So the first one is understanding your direction and where you want to go, and knowing what you do know and are very confident in, and knowing what you are more vague, have maybe a fuzzy picture of what the future looks like. So the compass actually helps you to understand that. And there's 6 big questions that have to be answered by the time you finally transact. You have to know, we believe you have to know, we like the 4 W's first. Your why. Why are you doing this? What do you want to accomplish with it? And not maybe just your why, but maybe your successor's why, and how they want to live their life. You need to know what you want to transfer and what you have to transfer. How you need to know your what, your when, which is to the question, Kevin, that you just asked. The when, there are multiple whens that happen. When am I going to be ready to leave my current role, maybe as CEO? There are many tasks inside of the CEO role. We'll just pick that one as an example. There are many tasks that happen. So you can break that into pieces and transfer that knowledge. And then there's the when do I maybe want to start giving or selling some of my interest, and then the ultimate transition of the equity. And then there are even other things like when will you finally leave? Some owners will transition completely the asset value, but stay on in a role, including a chairman of the board or something, for a long period of time. So there are many, many, many whens that you can think about as you go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So have you seen some entrepreneurs do this well? That are mature, healthy about the whole transition with their people?
Yes. So I've been very fortunate to see many entrepreneurs do this well. I think a couple of keys to what they've done is that they do put people first, and they try to figure out how to not only make themselves whole, but also, take care of their employees and families. All of the businesses that we've worked with in our company are in business today. So the statistics of businesses failing, you can read them. And I was in a presentation not long ago that said that that some of those are old statistics. So 35% of businesses in that next generation typically make it, and the rest of them fail. What I've seen is, in my opinion, the reason why they fail is because the owners leave too quick. They leave too soon, so they don't give themselves a long enough runway, and they think of transition as a transaction instead of a journey of transitioning knowledge and confidence to their, confidence, trust, all of those different things that allure the next successors to be successful. So I've seen a lot of successful business transitions with, most importantly, families and partner relations intact at the end. It's just that it takes a long runway to get there.
Absolutely. Talk a little bit about life after sale. That's often the number one reason folks don't sell, is because they don't have a plan. And so they end up being kind of herky-jerky about the whole process because they're not sure what they're going to do. They're not sure if this is a good idea. Just to your point, the lack of planning even after the sale is critical. Do you help them with it? And what are some of the things you help them consider for their new life?
Sure. So over the last 20 plus years, even though I'm an engineer by degree, because of my frustration of people not implementing the plan, the strategy, I started studying people. And that's been probably my number one focus, is studying people for the last 20 years. What keeps them stuck? What keeps them from moving forward? And one of the things that I learned, Kevin, is that people don't like to stop doing something if they don't have something that would be more fun or more engaging or more exciting than what they're doing right now. So just in general, people need to have a next adventure that they can't wait to get to in order to leave their companies, because they're very attached to their companies, especially if they built them. So the next adventure is extremely important. And entrepreneurs, one thing entrepreneurs don't like is sitting around. I don't know any entrepreneur that goes, oh my gosh, I cannot wait until I don't have my business anymore and I can sit on the couch for the next 10 years.
Right.
That's about the worst thing that you could do.
Their biggest fear. That's right. That's right.
That's the biggest fear. And then, relevance. Our owners, they talk about relevance. How am I relevant? What's my purpose in life? How am I going to contribute or give back? And relationships. I've got so many relationships as an owner inside of my company. And then all of a sudden I'm going to be by myself and my identity. So what we do with that is we have this program, it's called the Pathfinder. And I know that God dropped this in on my lap to use to help people figure out what their next adventure is. And we go through understanding, it's for individuals, go through understanding who you are as a person, how you're made, take a new look at maybe what your next adventure is going to be and how you want to spend your time, what's going to be purposeful for you, and how you will be fulfilled. And then once we figure that out, we build a 6-year plan. And what I call, it's Dr. Tom Hill, he's one of my mentors, the 18-month growth curve. And there are 4 quarters, 4 18-month segments in 6 years. And so I look at it kind of like a football game. If you go and you play your first quarter well, because in your 6-year plan, that's your Super Bowl, right? If you play that first quarter well, you put the odds in your favor of getting to where you want to go. If you don't do that, then you have to make it up in the second quarter. And if you don't do that one well, you need to relook and see if you're doing the right stuff, right?
Right.
But yeah, that next adventure is huge for people wanting to leave and feeling good about it.
Do you help them think about what their options are? What's a good fit?
In their next adventure,
Right.
and the business.
Right.
Yeah. So probably yes in both. An outside perspective, looking in on what your options are and where you might want to go, I think is highly valuable. We don't see ourselves sometimes for who we are. My PhD psychology person, he was a business partner of mine in the past, told me that human beings are funny because we tend to make decisions. If we're in a spot and get to a certain place, we'll leave that spot and make different decisions and end up in the same place again. Right. And then we'll go and do it again, and we'll end up in the same place, because that's how our minds work. And so seeing a different path, which means that you get to have different behaviors, it helps you to get to the place that you want to go. So yeah, people are interesting that way. And so outside perspective looking in, we can look at different options that you have personally. We also can look at that for people who are coming in with, like, one family, again, this one's out of Canada also, and kids coming into the business. This was a Generation 3 person coming in. They have 4 Generation 3s inside of the business. Generation 2 is like, hey, Generation 3, what do you want to do? What role do you want to play? Where do you want to fit into this business? And it's hard for a kid, even of the age of 30 or so, to say, this is what I'm passionate about and this is where I fit. So we can use it for successors coming in too, to figure out what options in the business are best for them. So individually, and then we also do that for the business. As you look at transitioning your business, is gifting best? Is selling best? Is third party sale best? How are you gonna meet your goals and your objectives? So Kevin,
Right.
lots of choices.
Absolutely. And calling you, I think would help, calling you early in the process, I think helps them kind of sort it out and be a little bit more clear about their future so that they don't get to a spot where they have to sell. So other than buying the book, which is a good idea, how else can they work with you? Is it consulting? Is it web-based? Talk a little bit about how these business owners can work with you.
So working with us, we are a virtual company, and I have built it to be that way just because owners, and especially as owners, as businesses grow, they become more diverse in geography, and same with families. So how people can work with us is we have projects that we do, and they come in, we listen to what they're trying to accomplish, design the project to meet their needs with the tools that we have on board. And the tool, this process that I built, transition process, it's proprietary to us. So I've built it and tested it and used it for years and years. And so we'll listen. We do an hour consultation at no charge to get to know you. And as much as you would potentially be looking at whether you think we're a good fit for you, we're doing the same because we want to be successful with the projects that we do. So I would project for you with your goals in mind. And the transition projects usually take for businesses to get the plan done somewhere between 4 and 6 months. Once you have that done, then there's a lot of execution that could be behavioral shifts, but it also can be legal or tax or, again, finding a great merger acquisition group like Clayton Capital Partners. So lots of different things that happen following that. And then that Pathfinder, the individual, that usually takes about 3 months to get through on average. So that's how you work with us.
Excellent. So Elizabeth's book is called It's a Journey, the Must-Have Roadmap to Successful Succession Planning. Elizabeth, how can they best find the book and how can they find you?
Our book is available on Amazon, and it's called It's a Journey. Available on Amazon. It's in an ebook as well, so you can download that. So best place to find it is Amazon. As far as working with us, our website is called it's just www.transitionstrategist.com, and you can Google me as well. There's a button and a link on there to start a conversation. We have a nice survey that you can take, and then we just start a conversation with you. And again, it's important, I think, I just encourage people to explore, whether you're ready or you think you're ready or not. The timelines that we build for people and the strategies, they go for anywhere from 3 to 10 years. So I found this to be, I just want people to explore and start to think about what's next in their world and their lives, because it does take time to get this done.
Excellent. Thank you very much for being with us, Elizabeth. I'm sure our viewers and listeners appreciate it. So to those of you that are listening, we will send you an email after this with the linkage to get a hold of Elizabeth and or to buy the book. So thanks, Elizabeth. Look forward to talking to you soon.
Kevin, thank you as well.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.